Hi everybody, welcome back to Storytime with Angel. Sorry about the bad lighting these past couple of episodes. I had thought that it would be warm enough to go back out into the sunroom. It's not quite yet. All the snow is gone, but it's still a little bit chilly out there. So inside the house, lighting's a little bit trickier. Sorry about that again. Today I wanted to read a little bit from a story that I actually co-wrote with someone. This is my first time co-writing with another author for publication, and this was written with Quinn. This has been getting a lot of really nice reviews. It's a fun story. It's a little bit lighter than some of the things that I normally write, but it's very exciting, we hope. And people seem to really be enjoying it. This is the first in the AURA series. AURA stands for the Agency of Unnatural Resettlement and Assimilation, which is kind of a fun item. AURA happened because of a magical accident at Berkeley. And the tagline is, "It's a weird job, but somebody's got to do it." So a magical catastrophe actually tears the fabric of reality, causing unpredictable holes between worlds through which anything might fall. Elves, centaurs, trolls, yeti, etc., etc. So this is the story of what happens mostly in New York for the first couple of books after that magical accident and all these people falling into our world. The first story is called Quinn's Gambit, and the blurb says, after a terrible magical accident at Berkeley created unpredictable holes between realities, the rare, random, anomalous reality events, all manner of non-human creatures started popping into our world. Displaced elf Valerian works with Aura to intercept these beings as they appear in the human world, helping the peaceful ones and subduing the violent. It's good, satisfying work, and Val would be happy if he wasn't so lonely. Quentin is a young mage just trying to get by, but New York isn't the easiest city to make a living. If his methods are sometimes dubious, his heart is in the right place. Of course, for Quinn, the right place means firmly locked away, protected at all costs. Living by his wits and sometimes magically induced luck, he works as a freelance magic user or unregistered mage and some small-time con, according to the authorities. The last thing Quinn wants is to draw the cops' attention, but when an event happens right on top of him, he's forced to turn to Aura for help. Valerian isn't at all what he expects in an Aura cop, and he certainly wasn't expecting to join forces with the sexy elf, a snarky drow, and a bitter succubus. I really should say incubus, when certain individuals in power try to stop the rare by any means necessary. Things are not at all what they seem at Aura headquarters, and a greater evil lurks at the top than anyone could have imagined. Sorry, I'm stumbling a lot today. I apologize for that. Okay, the excerpt that I picked out for you is actually not Val and Quinn. This is Kai, the drow, who is a former lover of Valerian's. They didn't really get along very well. He's sort of a bitter, odd individual, but he really does have the good of the world at heart. His methods aren't always nice. He's not always a kind person, but he does want to try and stop the bad guys when it's all said and done. So he's essentially locked himself in his room and he's doing something. And his Yeti lover, Tenzin, is trying to talk him out. So, there's your setup. "My love, are you coming out for lunch?" Kai winced at Tenzin's tentative knock on his study door. He had been neglecting his ever-attentive beloved, but it was necessary. Not much longer. He would make it up to Tenzin soon. "I'm not hungry," he called over his shoulder. "I'll be out later." Unfortunately, the Yeti was running out of patience. "Kai, you know I don't like to pry, but what are you doing in there? Val called for you again." "Yes, and did you tell him I was unable to leave my bed?" The hesitation on the other side of the door felt too much like an accusation. "I did. I hate lying for you." Kai chewed on his bottom lip, watching his worm work its way into the Aura database. So many things in this new world made no sense to him. Computers, though, were transcendent beings of perfect logic. He had learned all their languages, understood them better than any of his co-workers did. In the office he pretended not, asking for help with bits of programming so that the young humans wouldn't know the extent of his knowledge. Here in his study, no one could see. Here he was God. Kai! He heaved up out of the chair, knowing he'd put the conversation off for too long. The worm needed at least another half an hour. It didn't need him brooding over its progress. I'm here, dearest. He stepped out of the study, closing the door behind him without letting Tenzin look inside. I know you're here, Tenzin rolled his eyes, but you don't eat, you don't sleep, you don't sit with me in the evenings when you know I'm lonely. You pretend you're deathly ill and make me tell fibs for you. You're doing something bad, aren't you? Kai dropped to his knees, rubbing his cheek against one furry thigh. His Yeti lover usually only wore gym shorts at home, and that days were quite short. I love you, Tenzi, you know that, don't you? Stop it! Tenzin growled and seized his head in both hands. It's not fair, and it's not nice to try to manipulate me, especially when you're wearing that shirt. He looked down in a reflex reaction at the black t-shirt. It read, I'm not a fallen angel, but I play one on TV. Ah, that shirt. He had been wearing it when he first met Tenzin at some deadly boring aura party. The Yeti had seemed distant and aloof until he'd asked Kai where he'd lost his wings. They hadn't spent a night apart since. I'm sorry, he meant it and swallowed hard. Beloved, I don't want to tell you too much, but I'm trying to do something good and noble. Tenzin snorted. If it was so good and noble, you'd let me in there, and you'd tell me all about it. It's something unethical, something mean and horrid. No, no! Kai took his hands in a frantic grip, trying to convey with his eyes and his shaking fingers this desperate need for Tenzin to understand. It's not unethical. It's not evil what I'm doing. So tell me. I can't drag you into it. What I'm doing isn't legal. Kai, merciful heavens, if it's illegal, how could it possibly be ethical? Because when the ones who make the laws have done evil, someone has to make a stand. I do this for all those who have lost hope. I do this so another young witch doesn't leap from the Brooklyn Bridge. I do this so there will be a tomorrow. I'm trying to save the world, beloved. Surely that's not evil. The tension in Tenzin's powerful muscles eased. The sorrow in his eyes did not. Please tell me it's not dangerous, that you won't be hurt. I can't promise that. Kai shifted up on his knees to wrap his arms around Tenzin's waist and bury his face against his hard, white-furred abs. I've no idea what might happen yet, but I have to try. Please, love. Please understand. No one else is helping. I'm not sure anyone else can. This is something for which I'm uniquely suited. I have the means and the knowledge, so I must. My Kai, my angel. Tenzin stroked his cheek with a gentle finger. What a time to want to be a hero. What better time is there than one of utter desperation? Strong hands gripped his biceps and lifted him to his feet. Go. Tenzin's kiss was quick and fierce. Go save us all, my love. But be careful. I'll do my best. Kai patted his chest, then slipped back inside his study. That could have gone much worse. He did feel guilty about deceiving the one person he never wanted to lie to. There was a good chance he wouldn't make it out alive. But he couldn't tell Tenzin now. Could he? He turned on his iPod, connected to the computer speakers, and bled off some of his nervous energy, pogoing around the room, singing along in a whisper. It's the end of the world as we know it. A red light alerted him. The worm was in. A wicked smile curved his lips. Now, my dear director, let's see what you've been up to. Alrighty. And that's Kai, the drow, who is not the main character, but he certainly has a voice, and he certainly does play an important part, both in getting Quinn and Val together and in the final climactic scenes, shall we say. We will have more coming from the Aura series this summer. Flax's Pursuit is the second novel that's actually scheduled to come out in June. We're working on a third now as well, which is going to be an interesting one. And that one will take place partly in New York, but partly in the Pacific Northwest, I believe is where we're placing it. So that should be a fun one, and involves all sorts of interesting critters. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.